and welcome to another edition of Onside SA, where Budge and I will keep you up to speed. And as always, we start with last one standing, which was a midweek one this week. Budge, we've had 2 legs of it.
Yeah, Paul, a little bit frustrating. You know, I send out the numbers, and within about 2 minutes, I get about 20 other guys send their entries in. But obviously, if there has, before time. So, But, Paul, so really difficult, bar the couple of...
534 wins. This is week 2.
Week 2, Paul.
534. So we dropped a good percentage away first week. No, we're not going to drop that many this week because the results have been favourable.
Yeah.
But let's look at the ones that went through on Tuesday. Crystal Palace, quite a few. Arsenal and Luton, the brave man.
Alfie Darago, pick of the round.
Alfie Darago, well played, Alfie. Those who went by the bar, Brighton, a lot of people like them. 31, 13 on Villa. Fulham 9, Stevie, and Everton 2. And the Wednesday's results: Man City 241, always look comfortable. Tottenham took 98 through. Liverpool 17 through comfortably, and one
brave man on Brentford when they were 1-0 up.
Yeah, they did right for a stage. Tonight's games: 19 on West Ham.
Yeah.
Man United only 2. They're losing faith. Wolves 2. And Bournemouth 1.
West Ham, Bournemouth, Paul.
Yeah.
Man United, Wolves. So.
Okay, right.
And Paul, you won't believe it. Somebody got to round 3 that never gets past round 1.
Garth Whitehead.
Can you believe it?
Did he take a lot of?
No, I don't know. Carroll must have picked for him, but well done to Garth. 23 competitions.
It's like he picks to lose.
Yeah,
he goes so early every time.
I take jackpots with him. No wonder I'm broke. But well done to our man Colours. Yeah.
So just going through before we get Stevie on the line, just going through the results quickly. Nothing jumped out. Arsenal 2 good away.
Yeah.
Fulham, Everton stalemate. Brighton, bit surprising, but
Paul, I saw the goals. It seemed that I got bullied out of possession.
Didn't the guy get a hat trick?
I got a hat trick, I think Adebayo or something like that.
Palace said that Eze is a good player.
I watched a lot of that game, Paul.
Good player, me too.
Outstanding player.
And Villa got rolled at home. Long time since that happened.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday, Spurs 3-2. Two great plays by Dogie, even though he scored one. Man City, I thought, always comfortable.
Cruising.
And Liverpool always comfortable.
Going well, Paul.
Yeah, they're playing well.
Yep.
Right, just to touch on the matches before we get Steve, we've got West Ham hosting Bournemouth, and we've got Wolves hosting Man United. But I think maybe it's a good time to get Steve on.
Yeah.
Steve, are you about?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm here.
Morning. We're just talking about tonight's matches. West Ham hosting Bournemouth, and Wolves Man United, the mighty Man United.
Mighty, I don't know about that, but
I mean, West Ham Bournemouth is an interesting one because they're both sort of relatively in form in the league. It could be West Ham have sort of found themselves in a pretty decent position, and Bournemouth I think have surprised a lot of people in the last couple of months. I think it'd be a good game.
Yeah, I think it'd be a better game than Wolves Man United. When Nuno was there, every game was 0-0 or 1-0.
Yeah.
Terrible spectacle. I don't expect much tonight.
Yeah, watch my man Kuna. Okay, so those tight games all around.
Both tight games, Steve, big talking point. Jurgen Klopp. Every Liverpool guy I know is in tears. Well, is there anything behind it, or?
Look, he's been exceptional. I mean, evidently he said he made his mind up in November and told the board at that point.
Yeah.
He said himself that he's sort of running. He doesn't think he's got the energy to keep going. But I think it is a shock, and he's won everything there. So maybe he feels that he doesn't want to. I guess if he goes out on a high, for him, that's his legacy. Yeah. What happens next for him, or what happens next for Liverpool, obviously is a big talking point. I think that quite rightly he doesn't want to be discussing it for the next few months or distract from what the team are doing. But a lot of speculation as to who might be coming in. Sounds like Xavi Alonso is his favourite, but anything could happen. I mean, there aren't big shoes to fill. That's for sure.
Yeah, really tough. Paul Old educated me years ago. Following a great leader is a recipe for disaster. My thing about the club, I've got Liverpool guys laughing and joking. Nothing will change. If Salah walks out the door, goes to Saudi, You know, Van Dijk hasn't got much left, and neither has a goalkeeper. So you lose those 3 players. That's going to be a major blow to them.
But we've seen it with Ferguson. Top managers leave. We've seen it when Tuchel left Chelsea. They've gone backwards.
The Arsenal man. You know,
that's right.
Arsene Wenger.
Arsene Wenger. What is the Marcus Rashford issue? I don't know it.
I think you're right. But I think as well that I think that people was obviously concerned for Liverpool in the summer with sort of losing their midfield, but they brought new players in and they've obviously got a crop of younger players coming through, and they seem to be sort of picking up the mantle. So I think what's interesting is all of his sort of backroom people are going as well. Yeah. You know, normally the old Liverpool way is there's a lot of continuity. So you may find there'll be quite a few new people coming in, but you know, Liverpool don't like to sort of change their style of play too much. So it'd be interesting to see who comes in and whether or not they carry on playing the Liverpool way, as it were.
Yeah. Steve, Marcus Rashford.
What happened? He got drunk.
Well, look, I think the inference is that there are things going on in his private life that are obviously impacting on what's happening on the pitch. I mean, his behaviour last week was, just seemed out of character, and something that you have to go back to the days of maybe George Best sort of going out on a bender and then thinking you could just turn up and kick a ball around afterwards. Yeah. I think it's come as a bit of a shock. But his form this year has really dipped, but there's obviously other things going on in his life, and just finding him a couple of weeks' wages and saying, "Come on, get on with it." You wonder if that's going to change anything.
That's all he can do by dropping. I would drop him. He'd been woeful this year.
I heard the boss talking, Seven Hogg, talking about the difference with that and Sancho. Yeah, he was clarifying the difference between the two. So it looks like much lighter sentence for Rashford.
Only £600,000. That's what it cost him.
Yeah.
Well, what did this go on
2 weeks? 12 tequilas. I heard he drank.
12 tequilas.
There are two. Yeah, but you think there are too many things going on behind the scenes at United. Obviously, you had Greenwood. Then issues with Anthony, Sancho, now Rashford.
That's right.
I believe it's the manager.
Maguire.
McTominay.
I would think that with Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos coming in, they must be looking at this thinking, we need to sort this out. Yeah. There are things going on, and it's obviously must be distracting. We don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the team get on tonight, either with or without him. But I think there's going to be some changes in the summer without doubt there.
Yeah, no, totally agree.
Give me a winner.
What's that? Yeah, Steve, Premiership. We're on an early kickoff. Everton, Tottenham. How do you see it going?
Yeah, it should be a good game. Obviously, I saw Everton at Fulham the other night. I mean, they look quite good going forward, but defensively, we should have scored. I mean, we had 25 shots, and should have scored at least one. I think if Tottenham, that 10 minutes they had last night, if they played like that, I'd be surprised if they don't win that Tottenham. But Everton are fighting for their lives, but I just think, I think they're there for the taking personally.
Good man, Steve. Steve, I'm with you all the way. I looked at yesterday's game and looked at today's games as 2 wins after we had that Man City game in the FA Cup. And I was going through the league. We need to get back in the scrum because Arsenal and them mainly could drop 2 points with a draw, things like that. So I think it's a game we have to win. You've got to respect them, but I think we're putting together a good side. Pape Sol will come back in. He's back in training. Unfortunately, the Songs team went through.
Yeah. And over 2.5 goals, and I fancy Spurs to win, Steve. I think it was like 28-10, Spurs to win, and over 2.5 total goals. There has to be goals the way Spurs play. Yeah. They score mostly 2 goals in every game, bar the City game.
Every game,
So there has to be goals in that, and it's Tottenham and a draw for me.
Bet.
Can't see Everton causing an upset. Steve, a team I'm worried about, I watched a little bit of them, and they were woeful as Brighton. They've gone off the boil. That Michael Olise, I think he's the best young player in the league, bar Foden. Someone's going to...
Is it?
Olise, the other one. Yeah. Olise's a good player. I watched quite a bit of this game. I can't believe the betting's this way, unless they've got injuries again.
Well, I think the betting... It's interesting, I was listening, somebody was talking about Brighton yesterday and said, what a great season they had been having. You're thinking, well, you look at the league table, their form in the last sort of dozen games or so is pretty poor.
Yeah.
And by the sounds of it, they really were completely bullied and outplayed on Tuesday night. Look, Palace have had a bad run, but this is a derby. You know, there's no love lost. The M23 derby, they call it. Palace have had a poor run. Obviously, they needed to get those 3 points on Tuesday night, and I think this is going to be a much closer game.
Steve,
on their
Steve,
day they play well, but they've really got off the rails, and they're not challenging at all at the moment.
Steve's M23, that goes from the M25 down to the coast.
Correct, yeah. It sort of starts
Near
near
Gatwick,
Croydon, and then goes down close to Brighton. So they call it that, but obviously, it hasn't been a historical derby forever.
Yes.
It's something that really from the sort of 70s and 80s when they were in
Mullery, wasn't it? Adam Mullery and his mate, they had a fallout.
Yeah.
I think there's goals in this, Steve. I wouldn't be taking 6 to 10 Brighton, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Steve, big game for you on Saturday at Burnley. It's do or die for Burnley. Has to be goals in this, in my opinion, Steve.
Yeah, there will be goals. I mean, we struggled. A problem at the moment is we're struggling to score, but we concede.
Yeah.
This is, for us, I wouldn't say it's a must-win game, but it's a must-not-lose game.
Yeah.
Because obviously Burnley are quite a bit behind. But look, Burnley were well beaten last night. I think City didn't have to get out of second gear, as it were. But this is, as you say, it is do or die for Burnley. They're running out of games, so I think we've got a few injuries. We picked up another couple of injuries on Tuesday night, so we're down to the bare bones at the moment. So I'd be happy with the point.
Steve, any truth in the rumour that you guys are going to buy Broha from Chelsea?
Look, it sounds as if we're trying, but Chelsea are holding out for close to 50 million, and it can't happen.
I wouldn't buy him.
50 million rand.
You could get the whole front row.
There is no way that we would pay anything like that, and especially for a player, especially for a player that had a really bad injury, and he hasn't quite shown that form since he's come back. For me, the player as he was before his injury, when he was on loan at Southampton, he has the sort of makings of a young Mitrovic.
Yeah.
So. As things stand, I'd rather have him in our attack than not, because if Jimenez is injured, we've got nothing else. So, I think they're trying to bring somebody in.
Yeah.
But 11 o'clock tonight is
deadline.
The window shuts.
Yeah, I think you'll score a couple, Steve. I think there'll be plenty of goals in that game. Yeah. I think there'll be plenty of goals in the Newcastle-Luton game.
You think so?
I was looking. I fancied them to score the other night, which they did. I didn't see Brighton not scoring. They've scored in their last, I think it's 9 league games, Luton. Everyone laughs and jokes about them, but fancy Newcastle, Steve. I know Luton have done great, but should be Newcastle now.
That was a real surprise, Newcastle. I don't think many people saw them going to Villa. That was their first home defeat in the league for almost a year.
Yeah.
And they really went there and had a game plan. I wasn't overly impressed with Newcastle on Saturday night at Fulham. Yeah. But they obviously put in a very good. I only saw the highlights from Tuesday, but I think they're certainly going to be favourites at home, Newcastle.
Yeah.
But I think there will be goals.
No doubt about that. Steve, Sheffield United, Aston Villa, like Burnley. This is last chance saloon for Sheffield United too. They're falling away. Can they cause an upset?
Well, look, I mean, they put up a fight against West Ham in their last home game.
Yeah.
Villa are going to be smarting after that. They've obviously had a really good season, and I don't think that Unai Emery is going to want them just to fall away. Yeah. I think there's definitely going to be goals. I mean, Sheffield United concede. They conceded more than anybody, and Villa have got the players to score. So I think there will be goals. I wouldn't be surprised if Villa just sort of get back on track, though.
Yeah, I've got 3-1 written all over it. On to our second page, and we got Bournemouth, who play tonight against the Notts Forest side. They've actually done quite well of late, Steve. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this will be a close game. I mean, Forest have lost a couple sort of recently, but they make themselves hard to beat. It'd be interesting to see how Bournemouth get on tonight at West Ham. Obviously, they're obviously playing. Got one day less, but I think there'll be goals in this game. Forest, can score, but they certainly can see goals. I think for me, Bournemouth will start as favourites, but it's going to be pretty close.
Yeah, Bournemouth, good side to watch. Be a good game to watch tonight.
Yeah,
Steve, Chelsea at home, they've won their last 4. Wolves obviously play Man United tonight. I was disappointed in what I saw from Chelsea.
Me too.
You know, Pochettino has never been my manager tactically wise. He goes to Anfield every time and gets outsmarted. Wolves, I'm impressed with that manager. I know they've got one day less, but this won't be a cakewalk for Chelsea.
No, absolutely. I mean, Wolves are making themselves very hard to beat. Chelsea were well beaten last night.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they'd had a few wins before, but they were well beaten. And you know, I think they're at home. You know, but I suppose the issue he's got such a big squad. Although they've had injuries, it's hard to know, you know, who he's going to start with. I mean, Nkunku got his first goal for the club last night, so if he's fit, you know, it could well be that he'll start. I think they'll start as favourites, but I think it'll be a pretty close game.
Yeah, so do I. Man United, West Ham, Steve. The more I watch United, the more I want to turn the channel. They're a terrible watch. West Ham aren't much better. David Moyes keeps everything tight. This could be 1-1, 0-0. Wouldn't surprise me, but 3-1 the draw looks a decent price, Steve. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, they played each other only a few weeks ago, and West Ham, you know, deservedly won 2-0. So, you know, I think, look, it'll be interesting to see how United get on tonight with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
You know, these are the sort of games United have to win
if
they've got any aspirations for a European place. On the other hand, sort of West Ham are fighting for, you know, well, I don't think top 4, but certainly a Europa spot. So I think this will definitely be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised if United start as favourites, but at the moment you just don't know what you're going to get with them.
Yeah, you just can't trust them. Trouble in the camp, whichever way you look. This player, that player, definitely won't have my money. The big game on the weekend, Steve, Arsenal, Liverpool. Yeah, we got the betting up before the game last night, but I saw, I think it was 2-1 Liverpool against Arsenal. Now, what's a lot of Arsenal against Forest? And Forest competed well.
Yeah.
You know, Arsenal, they're not firing. I think Liverpool can beat them again.
I think Liverpool will beat them.
What do you think?
I agree with you. I think those are quite generous odds for Liverpool.
Yeah.
You know, the way they're playing and scoring goals, the way he can rotate his forward line and sort of mix and match, and they're all capable of scoring goals. I mean, Arsenal had an easy run out against Palace at home last time out. But for looking at the highlights of what I heard, I mean, they made hard work of beating a Forest side. Yeah. I think, you know, Liverpool, they beat them in the cup. You know, caught them cold late. I think if Arsenal don't take their chances early on, I think Liverpool could win this.
Yeah, is Salah back?
Well, he's done a hammy, so I don't think he'll play.
Yes.
Steve, Monday night, Man City. I was impressed with Brentford going forward, but the back they were woeful. I think this is going to be another cakewalk for Man City, Steve. What do you think?
You would think so. I mean, Brentford shocked them last season. But,
that was the last game, though.
City need to win games like this because they're on Liverpool's coattails.
Yeah.
Obviously, if Liverpool get a win before City play, they'll find themselves 8 points behind. It will be at 2 games in hand. But you know, you just think. I mean, Haaland obviously came on just for the last few minutes.
Yeah.
Interesting. I saw that City have got an entirely fit squad.
Yeah, for the first time in a long time. Yeah.
So you know, you look at their bench. You're thinking, crikey! I mean, you know, virtually the entire bench could get into most teams' first team. So, you know, I think City should be way too strong.
No doubt.
Let's go Championship.
Steve, on to the Championship. We've got to rattle through this quickly. First game up, Bristol City Leeds. I think Leeds are certainties. What do you think?
I think Bristol City will give them a good game, but Leeds should definitely be too strong for them.
Yeah, I drew 2-2 on Tuesday night, Bristol City. Blackburn QPR, the one thing that's certain here are goals, but can you see a winner?
Yeah, I think Blackburn at home are capable of winning this. I mean, QPR, you know, obviously harder to beat than they were, but I still fancy Blackburn.
Yeah, relegation battle, Steve. Huddersfield, Sheffield Wednesday. How do you see it?
Yeah, Huddersfield just sacked Darren Moore.
No.
Who was only there a short while. Sheffield Wednesday are playing a bit better. This is a derby. I think I can see this ending all square.
Okay. Hull City, Steve, I think are good things to beat Millwall. My Preston mates weren't impressed with Millwall. Yeah, Preston drew them 1-1. Hull on a bad team. I've watched them a couple of times. I fancy Hull, Steve. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think obviously they got younger Carvalho there on loan from Liverpool.
Yeah.
I think Hull should just edge this. Be close, but maybe 1 goal in it.
Yeah. On to our second page, and 2 teams that should be in the playoffs: Norwich City, Coventry. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think Norwich will start as favourites. Coventry dropped points the other night, which is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
They're on a good run. This is like a playoff battle actually, because neither of these teams are anywhere near automatic, but I think they're both vying for a playoff place. But I think Norwich might just edge it.
Yeah, I agree, Steve. I watched them play against Ipswich. They played really well. It was a Sunday game. That's one of my value bets, is Norwich City. My boys Preston, we got it on TV against Ipswich Town, Steve. Can we get a point?
I think, well, certainly at home you should be able to. I mean, Ipswich took a gamble last week in the cup, but it backfired against.
I couldn't believe that.
It backfired for them. But I just have a feeling that Ipswich might just start to fall away slightly from an automatic spot. So huge game for them, but I think Preston could hold them.
Let's hope so. 1 win and 7 for Ipswich. Rotherham, bottom of the league against the Southampton team, who are unbeaten in 20.
They're pushing, eh?
How do you see it?
You can't. Well, to be honest, I can't see anything other than a comfortable away win.
Yeah.
They've just taken David Brooks from Bournemouth on loan.
Okay.
He's obviously come back from a very serious illness. And I think Southampton are looking very strong. And for me, I think they're going to finish in second place.
Automatic, eh? Talking of automatic, 9 to 10 Leicester. That seems a decent price, Steve, at Stoke City.
Yeah, I think they're just, they've had a couple of good wins recently and they're just starting to pull away. So for me, that's a pretty good bet.
Yeah, every time we back them, we get done. On to our final page in the championship, and we've got Swansea City against Plymouth. We know every time Plymouth play, there's goals. Can Swansea roll them though?
Yeah, I think the thing with Plymouth is, at home they're strong, away they can't win. Swansea have been very disappointing. I watched them last week in the Cup, completely outplayed by Bournemouth. I mean, it was embarrassing almost. But I think in the league, they might just be a little bit too strong for Plymouth.
Yeah, Plymouth only lost 1 in 8, but you're right, home form's been outstanding. Watford, Steve, I just don't know what it's about them. Every time I expect them to make a promotion playoff push, they let me down. But great chance against Cardiff.
Yeah, I think so. They got a fighting point away at Sheffield Wednesday last night, 0-0. But I think they should. I mean, Cardiff are very up and down. 1 week win, next week lose or draw. I think if Watford again have any aspirations to climb up that table for a playoff place, this is the game they need to win.
Yeah, I totally agree. Last 2 games, you've got West Brom, Birmingham City. How do you see it?
Yeah, a bit of a derby. I mean, Birmingham obviously seem to be showing a little bit of improvement under Tony Mowbray. West Brom got beaten in the cup last week. Obviously, very unpleasant scenes going on. West Brom can't afford to lose this, so they start to fall away. I think West Brom will start as favourites, but I wouldn't be surprised if Birmingham hold them.
Yeah, I think there'll be goals in that particular game. And last but not least, Steve, Sunday should be a good game. Middlesbrough, Sunderland, yeah?
Derby. Yeah, it should be a good game. I mean, Middlesbrough look as if they're just selling one of their star players, Rodgers, to Villa today. Sunderland obviously had a good win last week. I think this will be close. I wouldn't be surprised if they cancel each other out.
Okay, I was fancied Middlesbrough, but I think goals are certainty in that particular game. Steve, pressure time again. I need your best bet and value bet, please.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Leicester as my best bet.
Yeah, I thought you would.
I just feel they should be too strong. On my value bet, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to go for Liverpool.
Yeah, it has to be.
I just think that if they show that attacking intent, can sort of keep Arsenal. I think if you keep Arsenal quiet in the first half hour or so, they tend to just sort of run out of steam a little bit. But it should look. It's the game of the week, game of the weekend, really. So good to watch.
Yeah, I went for Hull City as my best, even money. I was going to go for Valencia, but they're about 7 or 10 to me is a bit short, and totally agree on the Liverpool aspect. Steve, thanks again. Last one standing. I know you sailed through. Don't forget your pick, please. Yeah?
All right, Stevie, all the best.
No, not at all. Cheers, Paul.
Cheers, Steve. Take care.
AFCON quarterfinals, bunch. Talk to me.
Paul, first game up, I told last week if it was a bet team to back, it had to be Nigeria at 13-2. I think they'll beat Angola. Angola have done great. But Nigeria, Paul, they're the best team left. DR Congo haven't lost a game, but they've drawn all 4 games, 3 in the group, and they won on penalties. They knocked out Egypt. Guinea, a funny team. Got the guy that went to Liverpool for big money, the little midfield player. He's a captain. I forget his name now. Paul, be a tight game. Yeah, the draw. Look, this game could also go into extra time. Paul, I cannot believe Ivory Coast knocked out Senegal. They fired their manager after their 3rd group game. They got beat 4-0 by Equatorial Guinea, and they stuck out Senegal.
So
Mali beat us 2-0.
So Mali Soul will win.
Mali Soul, it should be Mali, but yeah, the Ivory Coast, the home nation, Paul, and they've got Kessie. They've got good players, Serge Aurier.
Okay.
2-1, Paul. This has to go to extra time, and let's hope, Paul. Cape Verde, I've watched them, little competitive side. A lot of their players play in France and then Portugal. We've done great, Paul. Long as we keep it tight at the back,
got a squeak.
We've got a chance to get through, Paul. If we win that, we play Nigeria. Ooh. So difficult, but we definitely have a chance.
All right, Bud, give me your 6, 10s and 13s.
Yeah,
please.
We kick off as always with our score 6, and I've got the field in the Everton-Tottenham game. Brighton win and draw at home against Palace. I've got the field in the Burnley-Fulham game. Ipswich Town win and draw at Preston North End. It ended up with 2 bankers. Leicester to beat Stoke, and I think Aston Villa will rebound and beat Sheffield United 2-1-6. On to the second soccer 6. I've gone Tottenham win and draw at Everton. The field in the Udinese AC Monza game. Brighton win and draw at home against Crystal Palace. The fielder game in the Burnley versus Fulham fixture, and 2 bankers. Newcastle to beat Luton and Aston Villa to beat Sheffield United 2-1-6.
Lovely.
On to the score 10. I've got the field in the early game, Everton Tottenham Hotspurs. Brighton Hove Albion win and draw at home against Crystal Palace. Fulham win and draw at Burnley. Bankering Newcastle to beat Luton. The field in the Norwich City versus Coventry City game. Second page, I'm going Ipswich win and draw against Preston North End. Bankering Southampton to beat Rotherham. Leicester to beat Stoke City, and West Brom to beat Birmingham City, and Aston Villa. I've thrown the draw in 288. On to the score, soccer 13, apologies. Bankering Aston Villa to beat Sheffield United. Brighton win and draw at home against Crystal Palace. The field in the Burnley-Fulham game. Banking Newcastle to beat Luton. Blackburn Rovers to beat Queen's Park Rangers. The field in the Huddersfield Town Sheffield Wednesday game. Hull City to be too good at home against Millwall. On to the second page, I've got Norwich City win and draw at home against Coventry City. Ipswich Town to avoid defeat at Preston North End. Southampton to beat Rotherham United. Leicester City to beat Stoke City. Swansea City win and draw at home against Plymouth Argyle. And Watford to beat Cardiff 288.
Budget's best bets.
Yeah, Paul, fairly tricky this week with the midweek clashes. So I've gone Tottenham to beat Everton and Man City to beat Brentford, and over 2.5 total goals in each game.
Right.
And then both teams to score in the Brighton Crystal Palace and Burnley Fulham game, 4,000 to 200. Our team goals only, I'm going Tottenham, Aston Villa, Fulham and Bournemouth, all to score over 1.5 goals, 2,200 to 200. On to the championship, I'm chancing Hull City to beat Millwall, Norwich City to beat Coventry City, and over 2.5 goals. And the Blackburn QPR and Middlesbrough Sunderland fixtures, 3,000 to 200. Both teams to score sides are Blackburn QPR, Preston Ipswich Town, Swansea Plymouth Argyle, Watford Cardiff City, and Middlesbrough Sunderland, 2,800 to 200. On to Spain, where I'm going for Valencia to beat Almeria, and over 1.5 total goals in that particular match. And both teams to score in the Real Betis Getafe, Real Madrid Atletico Madrid, and Rayo Vallecano Sevilla games, 2,400 to 200. Collis King, six or nixer. Newcastle to beat Luton, Man City to beat Brentford, Leeds to beat Bristol City, Hull City to beat Millwall, Athletic Bilbao to beat Mallorca, and Valencia to beat Almeria, 3,400 to 200.
Excellent, Budge. That's very good. So don't forget, last one standing. I know we've had the midweeks. We've got the last leg to go tonight, but they start again over the weekend. And don't forget the bets on it, Budge.
Yeah, Paul, sooner the better. But they'll all get reminded of what they've used, and obviously the Friday latest, and get them coming in. We've had a few coming already.
Excellent.
So keep them coming in,
Garth
guys.
Whitehead. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
All right, until next time, stay on side.